Today we're going to work on something fun. We're going to call these Jello marbles, or Jello filled, no, chocolate filled Jello balls. Chocolate filled Jello balls. What I did was I went out and I bought some of these small molds on Amazon. They're really a good quality, and the balls are really small. So what I thought I'd do is fill each one of these cavities with chocolate pudding. And I've done a test batch and they came out alright as far as the balls. Chocolate pudding, and then take a bigger mold, a bigger ball mold, which I also got off of Amazon, and fill these just a little bit with Jello. Let that set for a little bit in the fridge till soft set. Drop a ball in there and then finish topping it off with the same flavor of Jello, and then you'll have a ball that you can see through and see the chocolate in the center. That's the plan, that's the theory, that's the fun. So that's what we're going to try to do. So I'm going to use chocolate filling. I got other flavors too. I might try some butterscotch at a later date, or what other flavors I got? Cheesecake. I got a cheesecake pudding up there. Might try that. But we're staying with the favorite old chocolate right now. The directions call for 2 cups of milk. So we're going to whisk that up for 2 cups of milk. Get it all good and mixed. It says whisk it for 2 minutes. Okay, that's starting to thicken up now. And I'm going to add another half a cup because I don't want that to get too thick. And when I freeze dry that, I want it to be a little bit fluffy. So I'm going to stir that in. That's another half a cup. Now, since I watered that down now, I think what I'll do is add some Hershey's syrup to get that chocolatey again, since we added that extra milk. And I'm thinking probably about 2 tablespoons, because I like a lot of chocolate. And that should do it. And the next part is really kind of messy. I didn't have no other way. I mean, I tried spooning it with a spoon into each one of these little cavities, and it worked, but it was messy and tedious and time consuming. So what I did was I bought one of these cupcake filling things, and even this is messy. But what I found is if I fill this with the pudding, it still wants to pour out the bottom because it's so runny. It's a cheap cupcake filler. But maybe if I hold that like that so it don't all run out before I get it to the mold, that might work better. Take the mold over here. And basically I'm going to fill each one of those little holes up. Let's see if I can get that to where you can see it. Trying not to get any air in it. I'm just going to let gravity do its thing, because it's just pouring out. This tray holds 40 of these little balls. Okay, these I'm going to go ahead and put in the freezer just to get out of the way. We're going to let these freeze solid. Okay, so just like last time when I did my test batch, I got 6 trays out of that. So that's 6 times 40 is, what is it? 40, 80, 120, 240 balls out of that. So let me get this cleaned up real quick and then I'll show you what it looks like getting them out of the mold. Okay, so here's some I done earlier. This is actually a Giovanni brand chocolate and caramel pudding. Tastes really good. So all you do is you just take the back, pop it out with your thumb. That's all there is to it. Kind of want to work quick so that they don't stick together in your jar. My jar was pre-frozen in the freezer so that it's nice and cold. And then just pop them out one at a time with your thumb. Move them as quickly as you can. really happy with these molds. They're really thick and high quality. They're not cheap and flimsy. Kind of expensive. Like I say, it took 6 of them to do a box of pudding. There you go. So there you go. It's all empty. There's a jar of chocolate balls that we're going to use later. Got those back in the freezer. So I'll get that cleaned up. And next time you see me, we'll be doing them inside the Jello mold. See you then. Okay, this is take 2. First I did raspberry and figured out that I needed 2 boxes of Jello instead of 1 box of Jello. And then while transferring it to the freezer, my tray collapsed. It was just a disaster. I mean, it's not a throwaway disaster, but I want to be able to show you one that works, so I'm going to keep those. They just won't be as pretty as the other one. So I did the raspberry. It was a failure. Did a blue colored Jello, which is called a Very Berry, and that was a success. So what I did was I went out and bought a feeding syringe, because I found that filling these molds was a lot easier with a syringe than trying to pour it into them. So that was a learning experience. So this one is going to be the real deal. So we're mixing the Jello, and in this instance I'm using black cherry according to directions. 2 packets of Jello. So that's going to be 2 cups of boiling water and 2 cups of cold water, just according to the directions. I'm not changing anything on that. It says to stir for 2 minutes, so we'll give that a good stir until everything's dissolved. Okay, that's pretty well mixed up. We're going to add the 2 cups of cold water. Give that a quick stir. I'll move this out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a small layer of Jello in each one of these molds, just enough to keep the chocolate ball from touching the bottom later. So the first stage, we're just going to fill it probably a quarter of the way through full. And I love this thing. That makes my life so much easier than I was trying to pour it in there and it just wasn't working. But with this, I just do like that. Fill it about a quarter of the way through full. Very easy. That's all there is to it. So I'm going to put this in the fridge for 30 to 45 minutes. I'll probably go closer to 45 minutes till the Jello is soft set, which is going to be set just enough that when I drop the chocolate ball, it doesn't sink to the bottom. It'll float in the middle. So we want the soft set stage. I'll probably go pretty much 45 minutes is what I'm going to do. I'll see you in 45 minutes. Okay, It's been 45 minutes. That soft set the Jello. So now all I'm going to do is just go along and put one chocolate ball in each hole. Okay. Now we'll take the syringe and just top off each mold. Okay, so that's full. So what I'm going to do, put this in the refrigerator until that is totally set, several hours, and then I'll transfer it over to the freezer. In the meantime, we have some left over. So what I've been doing is taking that leftover and just making small Jello balls out of them. Just plain Jello. I thought that'd be interesting. And there you have it. I'll stick those straight into the freezer, bypassing the refrigerator, and we'll call that good. So what we're going to do is I got a bunch of other flavors to do. I'm not going to show you every flavor, but they'll be the exact same process, just a different flavor. And once we get enough, I'm going to do a full load in the Harvest Right freeze dryer of just these Jello balls. And I'm looking forward to trying those when they're done. So we'll see you when they come out. Okay, so I figured I better just show you how I take these out of the large molds. I haven't showed that in the video, so it's getting really long. I apologize for that. So what I do is I just flip it over These are a little bit harder to get out. And push the back. Now, once you get one out, you can stick your finger in there and kind of hold it to push. That's all there is to it. But I wanted to show you them coming out. I'm not 100% happy with these because they're not see-through. I thought Jello would be clear, but it's not. But I'm on my third load, full freeze-dried load. They taste good. It's just that appearance-wise, I would have liked to have seen that chocolate ball in there. But it's not to be. Good morning. This is the fourth and final load of my Jello balls. And it's taken me quite some time, so I'm kind of glad to get this finished. So we'll pull this out and we'll go over some things I tried to make it go easier. But like I say, here's the fourth and final load finished. And there you have it. So I think I did every flavor that Jello brand had of Jello, and then some chocolate pudding, butterscotch pudding, cheesecake pudding, which these are. And they're really nice. So I want to go over some things that I tried to solve and didn't. When I made the Jello and put the chocolate ball in, I was hoping that the Jello would come out clear, and it didn't. So I'm very disappointed with that. It was a lot of work to do these in the two different molds and all that stuff, and I didn't get the result I wanted out of that. And to add to that, you don't really taste the chocolate in the middle. So other than the looks, I'm not really sure that it was worth all the effort, other than the eyeball look. I mean, if you want something to look like an eyeball, that's about perfect. But you just end up tasting the Jello. I found that early on, but since I started, I figured I'd go ahead and finish it. I tried making the Jello with distilled water in this last load, thinking, well, maybe it's because of the hard water or something that they're not clear. But no, the Jello just didn't come out clear. I've seen other people on the forums show pictures of their Jello and it came out clear, so I don't know how they did that. Anybody got an idea? I'd really appreciate you letting me know on that. So if I were to do this again, I think I would just go with making the small balls. When I set up my display, I think you'll see why. Just make a nice little snack jar with all kinds of different flavors. So let me get this set up before these start absorbing moisture, and I'll get back to you. Okay, so there you have it. Let's see what we get. Got a case of the gallon or half-gallon jars of the big ones with chocolate filled centers, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 of the jars filled with a variety of a pudding and Jello balls. I really like these mixture here. I mean, that'd be a nice little snack jar to have on your desktop. Don't know how long they'd last. Would draw on moisture maybe in the winter or something when it's not as humid out. But they're really tasty. Kind of like, I was talking with my brother and we kind of decided these kind of look like the old Tricks that came in the different flavored balls. Nowadays they've changed it, but when we were kids they had little balls and that's what these kind of look like. But they don't taste like that. They taste very nice. So there you have it. And I'll get this uploaded and we'll move on to the next one. See you then.